Hari Om. Today my topic will be the current topic. What is Hinduism? What is Hindu religion? And this shall be in English, part number 1. Before that, Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu Dirghayushman Bhava Stribhyah Dirgha Sumangali Bhava Kanya Stribhyah Shigrameva Vivaga Praptirastu Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu Sarva Vyadi Nivarana Praptirastu Sarva Aishwaryam Abhivirdhir Bhavatu Sarva Mangalani Bhavantu Tadastu. What is a current raging topic? What is Hinduism? Whether we are all Hindus, whether Tamilians are Hindus, who are the Hindus, whether what is Saivism and Vaishnavism? Well, one should understand the basic concept, the basic history. And I also request you to read Swami Vivekananda's comments, who is a Hindu, what is Hinduism. You see, briefly, we had a land up to Persia. That is a modern Iran, where I will be referring to as Persia. That is, you go to Karachi, the Sindh state of Karachi, one of the 4 provinces of Pakistan right now. Along that you go, and India stopped, then Afghanistan started. So the Persians, Iran, modern Iran, Persia, had common border with current Pakistan and Afghanistan. So Sindh province was one of the major provinces. And so the Persians called the people living on the other side of Sindh as Sindhus. Now they should have called us Sindhus. But the word Sa is not there in Persia. So they called us Ha. Ha is the common word. And they called us Hindus. Examples, we have Somapanam, Soma. They call us same Panam, the same herbal drink. Divine drink, the drink of the Devas, as you call the drink, as Homa drink. They don't call us so. Sa is not there. Ahura, they say, we say Asura. Ahura is a good Deva. Ahura. We say Sura is good, but Asura is Rakshasa. So there were a lot of common Indo-Iranian languages one has to understand. There are a lot of commonalities. Both of us are fire worshippers, the Zoroastrians, or nowadays called as Parsi because they come from Persia. We Indians call them as Parsis. And for example, the culture was also same. Both were fire worshippers, Agni, and both had what is known as in India, Hindus wear this janenu, this punal, whereas they tie the punal, the thread, sacred thread, across the waist. Still, you can check with Parsis. In Zoroastrianism, about 2% of the Persians, Iranians, or 2 to 3% must be Zoroastrians now. So it was the Persians who called us as Sindhus but Hindus. Ha. Because Sa is not there. In Kannada, we have in Tamil we have Palu. In Kannada they say Halu. In Tamil we say Pad, sing. In Kannada they say Hadu. In Bengali also, Va may not be there predominantly. Vishwanath will be Bishwanath. Vishwas will be Biswa, Ba. That is a language style. If you go to Pali. In Pali and Sanskrit both are same more or less. They call Dhamma, we call Dharma. Ra is not there. There they call, we call Karma, Ra. They call us Kamma. The Ra is not there. We say Nirvana, they say Nibbana. We say Sutras, lot of Sutras. They say Suttas. The Ra will not be there. I say Maitri, they will say Meta. You see, this was the type of some language systems, cultural systems, pronunciation systems, P, that was prevalent. So people living on the other side of the Sindhu, were called as Sindhus. Now the Sindhu also, how it came, Sa-Indu. The Indu was a very big river, and it was originally known as Sindhu River. But after Alexander and all the Europeans came, they made us Hindu. So they said India. Ours was Bharat originally. Bharat is Bha means what? Glow, leisure, light. You can say as light, glowing light. And Rata is one who is interested, attracted, one who loves the light. In the adjective way, if you want to describe the Ba, he says Rata. The light is being loved. The light is being preferred. The light gives the delight. So that is why we had Bharata. And then the Persians said like that. So we have the Bharata. Bharata we say, even Ramayana, in Bhagavad Gita, you can see a lot of these Bharata words also. Hindus words were only used by these foreigners, especially Persians. And then Afghanistan used. And even today, when I was studying in US, I had a lot of Pakistani friends in 1977, 78 and all. They would call me, he's from Hindustan. They never say he's from India. You can check even today, they refer India as Hindustan. A typical Pakistani. We have all the same DNA. We are all of the same race only. I mean, no big difference except because of religion. So, let there not be any other confusion. So, the Hindus, the name was there. Hindus was there 4,000 years back also. Sindhus, Hindus. Persians called us Hindus. The Sindhu river is now, after that, became Hindu river. The Sindh state is that is a Sindhu state. There were kings. So there is no difference or nothing to say the Hindu and other things. Now, other side of river Sindh means all extending down up to South India. Because if you take the word Dravida, Dra means rough and tough. The land shaped there was not, because we had originally, if you take geography, India continent, Indian subcontinent, the African were together. And then they broke. So at those times, say I am talking about 4,000-5,000 years back, the peninsular India was probably very rough. There is one word for dra like that. The other word you can say is sleep also, to go to sleep. Nidra, they say. Ni, if you put the upasarga ni of Sanskrit, you get the nidra. Nidra means dukkha also can come. Depends on the upasarga. Grateful, if you put ungrateful, opposite meaning. Gratefulness means that ness gives you some, or the greatest, est gives, adds power to the word great. No, these are all the regions' name attributed by people. So people who are living in these regions were called Hindus, and they were practicing a type of worship. They were all nature worshippers. They, especially after that Pakistan we had, no, it has gone to Pakistan. In those days, Rig Veda started. Deep thinkers were there. That's why it is Pakistan, Rajasthan, Hindustan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Stan. I've written in a book, A Search in Sacred Hinduism. The Stan itself is a Sanskrit word. You see, so people practicing a way of worship. Now, how we were worshipping? We were worshipping Lord Shiva. We were worshipping Lord Vishnu. We were, Brahma may not be worshipped. We were worshipping Kartikeya, Vinayaka. All coming down the ages, different sages gave these source of power and were worshipped. But the way of worship, the sacred texts, the Upanishads, if you take the Rig Vedas, we have four Vedas. Rig Veda, Yajur, then Krishna and Shukla, then Sama Veda and Atharva Veda, mainly on medicines. Therefore, how you describe how these Vedas, and they came indoctrinated, they were all coming down to south because of Agastya, and a lot of rishis were there because there was a contiguous land, no big seas to cross. Therefore, the people who were having a particular way of worshipping all these were actually coming under one umbrella that is called Hinduism. And it was English who said India, and they said Indus River. Original name was Sindhu River. That is not English, but the Westerners, because Alexander was a Greek. All the Europeans, I would say as Europeans. There was no Americas that time. So they were calling us like that. Okay, welcome. And they all want to come to Bharata because land where light was there. Because India had about 200-250 days full of light. In those days, those areas where 200 days were darkness because of the climatic condition. So Hindus were there, and it has been referred in many of the old textbooks also. Sanatana Dharma is nothing but permanent Dharma is Sanatanam, but how it came? Sanat Atanam. Atana means A plus Tana, you can say that. The word Atana itself, you can take it Atana as a posterity, as a future. From the Sanat. The sun can be a upasarga, and A is something whole. Adinam, we say whole day. Tana is something what we call as a posterity. A continuing or a Passover. Atana means being carried over and over again. It does not die. That's why it is Permanent. Sanatanam as a word can be under PPP, pronunciation, practice, and whatever it is, participles, you can take it as permanent. What is permanent? Dharma is permanent. That has to be accepted by everybody. Truth is permanent. Untruth is not permanent. So when I say truth is permanent, what is wrong in that? Why should I say I do not want Sanatana Dharma? Why I do not want permanent truth? I mean, it might sound ridiculous. See, in every language, religion is worship. If I say Allahu Akbar, it is perfectly all right. Allah is an Arabic name for God, and Akbar is great in Arabic name. So if I say God is great in English, or Allahu Akbar in Islam, or if I say Bhagavan Sarvavyapi in Sanskritam, Kadavul Thundilim Irupar, Turumbil, anywhere, it is acceptable. It all refers to one God. Why should I fight with my language and your language and that language? If we have some particular disliking for North Indians, and whatever they say is wrong, so under that umbrella you want to say, because they only brought the word Hindu and Sanatana Dharma, so we will not accept. I mean, that doesn't sound logical and acceptable. You are saying, I do not want Sanatana Dharma, you do not want permanent Dharma, so you are accepting that you do not want truth. And Hinduism, there was nothing called Hinduism existing. So Hinduism is the cultural name. It was existing. Even in South, all our Tirumular or all our Tirunavukarasar or Manikya Vachagar or Tirunyana Sambandar or all the Nayanars, all the Alvars, everybody worship Shiva and Perumal. You want to see how many Vedas they have written, Shivane poetry, Namachivayame, all these words, if you see in all these Tirumarais, you will understand. Everything was Shiva only. And even for those certain political people, I am saying, Tirumular beautifully explains on Gayatri Japa. Gayatri Japa is supposed to be North Indian. And because of the dislike for North Indians, you can't say something which is regularly accepted, because India was one, India is one, India will be one, because of the culture. Culture is called, the name of the culture is Hinduism. Now what does Tirumular say in 228? Gayatriye Karudu Savitri, Aidarku Vappar, Mandiram Mangunni, Neyette Reri, Ninaivutru Neyatai, Mayatul Toya Marayorgal Tame. Those people who they chant Gayatri, the Maha Mantra, they don't disappear. They are always permanent. They don't disappear into the Maya. They are not attracted by beautiful verses are there. We can go on explaining. Everywhere you take in Tirumular's Tirumandiram, everything will be on Lord Shiva. Now Lord Shiva comes from Himalayas. Is he a North Indian god? He is not a Dravidian god. See, if you start explaining everything, even most of the words used by our Siddhas in their Vachagam or Tirumandiram or Tevaram, Tirukadaikkapu, everything will be 70% Sanskritam. They say Bhuvanam Kadandu. They all have Shiva and Tiruvadi, Shivane Tiruvadi Votri. They all bow before the feet of Shiva. So everywhere you have Lord Shiva or Perumal. And everywhere most of the words are governed by Sanskrit words only. Lokam is a Sanskrit word. Sayankalam is a Sanskrit word. See, there is unending, if you go into say, Shivanukku, Shivanu Odukka, தெய்வம் தேடினும் இல்லை, அவனை ஒப்பார் இங்கு யாவரும் இல்லை, புவனம் கடந்தன்று பொன்னொளி மின்னும் தவனச் சடைமுடி தாமரை யானே. So Shivan is the greatest god. Bhuvanam is a word in Sanskritam only. Likewise, you can just go to tevaram.org and you can see all those Tirumalais, beautifully sung also by Uduvars. What a melody. And all those words, if you see, are all mainly Sanskrit oriented also. towards North India only, for those South Indian politicians who say Dravidam, because some of their leader does not want to, is not a Tamilian by race, he called Dravidam to encompass Telugu people and Tamil people and Kerala and Karnataka, but all these three states, and even in Tamil Nadu 99% do not accept his words, his ideas or ideologies. So that's why they call us, they put the word Dravidam, Dravidam to include all these people, but none of the other states are there. Their leader was himself was not a pure Tamilian by race. You see, unnecessarily, why should we create division between Indians? What is the reason? Unless it is for political purposes. Political purposes also people would not accept. Everybody should be unified. Instead of wasting your time on all these things, if these rulers do good service to Dalits, poor people, bring them up in life, give them education, bring them up in life, and spend your energy and money and time on that instead of bringing arguments like who is a Hindu, he is a Shudra. No, what is Shudra? If you see my books, I have explained. Okay, there was a verse in the Purusha Suktam of Yajurveda. There is a verse, Brahmane ebhyo mukamasit Bahu rajanya kritaha uru tadasya edvaishyaha padbyagam shudro ajayata. So Brahmanebhyo mukha asit. They were existing from the face, means from the mouth actually. Mukha has two words, two meanings. You should understand Sanskritam very well. Face or even from the mouth. So those who chant the Vedas, those who profess Brahmins, that was because they are in the face. No, it's scientific. Brahmanebhyo mukamasit bahu rajanya kritaha. Bahu means shoulders. The Rajas, the Kshatriyas came because shoulder valor. You have a powerful shoulder means indicative. Bahu rajanya kritaha uru tadasya edvaishyaha. Uru means stomach region, your stomach. If your stomach is big and flat, you are a rich man. From there comes the Vaishya because he earns wealth. Padbyagum shudro ajayata. From the feet, the Shudras came. Now, first of all, in these four levels, they have got nothing to do by birth. It only indicative of the karma you do. And where do you offer flowers? Shivane Tiruvadi Botri. You also fall at the feet of Lord Shiva and you offer flowers, petals and archana to the feet only, from where the Shudras came. So noble, everywhere Tiruvadi Botri, Padangal Potri, Tirupadangal. That's why Yudhishthira sat at the feet of Bhagavan Krishna for getting some vara, whereas Duryodhana, haughty fellow, sat at the head. Bhagavan gave what? First, because he opened and saw only Yudhishthira. Is it not? So everywhere, you see in Vishnu Sahasranamam, there is a beautiful verse. Vedantako brahmanasyat vijayo chakriyi bhavet vaishyo dhana samrita syat. Syat means maybe. Shudraha sukham avapnuyat. Shudra, let them have the sukha, the pleasure. Veda, let it go. Go Brahmana. To the Brahmana. Vedas, knowledge, education, science, whatever it is you want to say. Vedanto go Brahmana siyat. Let victory come. Vijayi Kshatriyo bhavet. For the Kshatriya, the warriors, the kings, the rulers, the military. Vaishyo dhana samritham siyat. May they earn. May they be earning. Who? The Vaishya, the traders, the industrialists, the business people, the agriculturalists. And Sudraha, let them be sukham, happy. Let them be happy. When you have all these verses, and in Skanda Purana, Brahma openly says, all were created from my body and all are equal. I have quoted all these in my books, A Search in Secret, Sacred Hinduism. It is nothing but Adam Smith's division of labor. A society has to be partitioned, a sportsman has to be a sportsman, a college professor has to be a college professor, a military has to be a military, industrialist has to be an industrialist, the business people, the agriculturalists, the Shudras who plow the fields, they have to produce. Skilled people are required. If a greatest tennis player abhors or throws away his tennis skills and goes and starts singing, neither he will be a good singer nor he will be a good tennis player. It is by nature. Some people sing well, some people have intelligence well. Now the word Shudra, where did it come from? See, if you go to old Vedas, you can see there was a battle of 10 kings. In the battle of 10 kings, the king called Sudas was having an army and he won the other kings. He was also supported by Indra, Devendra. And his soldiers were called Sudras, fighters. They were hard-working. So, Sudras are generally hard-working because I used to think that a very big knowledge professor in science or in electrical engineering will not go down to the road and fix a fuse in the street light lamp. Only for that skill, that type of a person has to come. And that will be mainly a Shudra. That's why he is called Shudra. That's why he is called a worker. Because that professor cannot do that. The professor in Sanskrit name or old Indian name were called Brahmana. You see, arguments can go on. Unnecessarily, these type of misplaced justice or trying to justify mistakes is not called for. It's absolutely not called for. If you go into the profundity, if you go into the old system of our Vedas, you will understand the truth behind it. Because otherwise, everything will be apocalyptic. Everything you will try to find fault. Everything will tell you some danger. And all these things absolutely are not called for, because we have historic proof, we have documented proof of how these words originated and how all these things came into effect. Therefore, these question of conjectured misstatements to justify the existing injustice and trying to prove that the injustice or the wrong facts are the real truth, it itself a pun, I would say, and a game by certain politicians to take advantage of certain situations. Simply calling Aryan and simply called Dravidian, and Aryan means noble. Arya, they say, even Shankaracharya, Adi Bhagavad Pada was say Arya Purusha, noble sir. And he used to tell, I am a Dravida Shishu, because he comes from the region, the Dravidan, where there was in those times, it was not as smooth as it is now. Because of the three seas, all the sides, and because of heavy rains, there could not be rough and tough seashores. So that is all region's name, okay, but that did not be misconstrued. So there is nothing, there was Hinduism, called as Hindus by the Persians in those times. So from those times it was existing, it is not a new word. And people who are practicing Vaishnavism and Sainism were Hindus. It is just like Dr. Karan Singh recently said, I am a Catholic but I am not a Christian. And a male fellow comes to me, I am a male but I am not a man. I am a male but I am not a man. I mean, mankind is universal to both male and female. You cannot say like that. So everybody is encumbered, comes under the umbrella. Therefore, if you say that you are a Catholic but not a Christian, or all these trying to justify something what you think is right and what you think is wrong. Hinduism was there. Hindus were called. Hindustan was a language used by a lot of people from Turkmenistan, because Turkmenistan is a place where Turkey people came and settled in between about 1,000 years back. They nomads, migrates, some group comes and settles in some place. And that's why that place is called Turkmenistan became because of the word, which went very popular, the Sanskrit word, in northwest Pakistan province, those areas where it started, spewed up. So from there, the Stan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Afghanistan, Rajasthan, Hindustan, all these names came. So Stan was a common word. It was developed Like nowadays, people starts English vocabulary as pandit, a guru they are using. Now after 500 years, the guru will be a very common word after 1000 years. So the Stan, the Sanskrit name, and we were called as Hindus only by most sect of the Western people. And Indus Sindhu river was called Indus by the Europeans. That's why it became Indus river. There were Sapta Sindhus there. As per the Rig Veda, if you go to Rig Veda, and if you probably see in, I think, book 135 is the chapter and verse number 34 or 34. If you go there and see, there are 8 summits of the verse and 3 shores or 3 deserts and Sapta Sindhus they say. That is a region definition by the Rig Veda. 8 summits of the earth. In the very book 1, you go to chapter 35, you can find their verses. My verse is quoted in 34th couplet. 8 summits of the earth is there. Then 3 shores they are called, and you also included 3 deserts. We had Thar deserts and other deserts. Even in China area, after Tibet, full of deserts are there. They were meaning that 3 deserts or the shores. We had 3 shores. India had 3 shores down. And Sapta Sindhus. We had Sapta rivers. We had a river even called like Sindhu river. Even Nasaraki, they have called some Sanskrit names. 7 rivers names are there. So Sarayu river, where Rama went and merged himself, is also one of forming part of the Sapta Sindhu. 7 Sapta. And we say Sapta, they say Hapta in Persia. So we say Sindhus means they will say Hindus. That's all. They were calling us as Hindus. Therefore, with this, I just conclude my session, and more of it we shall see in the next ensuing session. Till such time, Bhuyat Tavat Shubhamangalam. Hari Om.